Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is finally out in cinemas, with an estimated budget of $200 million and has already clocked in over $400 million worldwide at the time of writing this review, so it's already doing great business less than a week after its release. Directed by Sam Raimi, who is obviously no stranger to the comic book genre, with the Spider-Man trilogy and his own creation back in 1990 with Darkman. As Thanos and the Avengers storyline had come to an end, the Marvel series is now exploring the cosmic side of things with the introduction of the Multiverse, which the recent Spider-Man film took advantage of and was one of the most successful films of all time. This new Doctor Strange adventure is a way to expand on that storyline, with Scarlet Witch getting thrown into the mix as the villain of the movie. So where do we find Doctor Strange in this new film? Strange is attending the wedding of his former girlfriend Christine, and he is questioning what if things had worked out for them, and unsure if he is happy with his life at this stage. The wedding of the celebration is interrupted by the arrival of a giant octopus, who was chasing after a young girl called America Chavez, who has the ability to jump through the multiverse, but doesn't have the ability to control it, and it only happens when she gets very emotional. Recognizing the signs of witchcraft on the demons, Strange consults Wanda for help, only to realize that she is responsible for the attacks, as she wants to gain control of the multiverse so she can reunite with her two sons. When Strange refuses to surrender Chavez, Wanda attacks their stronghold, killing many sorcerers in the process. In their attempts to escape from Wanda, who has become the Scarlet Witch, Chavez opens a door into the multiverse for herself and Strange to escape, and they find themselves in Earth 838. Scarlet Witch uses her powers to dreamwalk into this world, taking control of her counterpart, and is getting closer to Chavez and Strange, who have been imprisoned and time is running out. I was certainly intrigued to watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, mainly down to the fact that Sam Raimi was directing. I've been a fan of his work over the years, enjoying the Evil Dead trilogy and Darkman when I was younger, and his style very much lends itself to the comic book world, hence why the Spider-Man trilogy was so popular. If it was another director handling it behind the scenes, then I may have been less enthused to see it, and probably waited for it to come out on Disney+. As I'm not the biggest fan of Doctor Strange, don't get me wrong, he has some cool powers. Benedict is very good in the role, but with so many superheroes now, especially in the world of Marvel, I'm finding it difficult to be fully invested in all of them. So with a great director behind the camera, it certainly got me to go see it. So what did I think of it? I thought it was a good film, but not great. If you take away the end credits, the movie is just under 2 hours, and I did glance at my watch a few times, as I felt it was dragging in areas and the action was a bit relentless. That's not to say the action wasn't impressive. It's very well choreographed and staged, the visual effects are to a very high calibre, the photography is very slick, and many of the sequences have Sam Raimi's style all over them, but they did go on for too long, as the story often took a backseat for these lengthy sequences. I saw this film in IMAX, so it had a change of its aspect ratio, which I didn't realise until I saw the trailers, which were in the CinemaScope format. So if you go to a regular showing, you are seeing it as Raimi intended. Doctor Strange has been pondering the question if he is happy, as he pines for the relationship he could have had with Christine, and meeting the alternative version of her, he tries to come to terms with that. But the love angle of his story arc didn't work for me. There is not much chemistry between the two actors, and it felt contrived and fell flat. The character who has the most interesting journey throughout the film is Elizabeth Olsen, as the Scarlet Witch, who provides a fantastic performance. She comes across as this mega bitch who is hell-bent on trying to get her children back that don't exist in this world, which Strange tries to explain to her to stop her actions. If you've seen WandaVision, you will know what's going on, but if you haven't, then you will feel a bit lost, I think. As with all classic villains, the audience have a good understanding of why these characters are going this route, and in the case of Scarlet Witch, you can sympathise with her. But it's her actions that make her someone that needs to be stopped, and the movie gets that right and makes that message very clear. With Sam Raimi being highly skilled at horror, he gets his chance to play on that. There are some creepy moments, some homages to his previous films, there are some gory scenes as well, which I'm surprised they got away with. It's a pretty strong 12 rated movie, or say PG-13. I think some kids will be a bit freaked out perhaps, or maybe they'll love it, it's hard to tell these days. It's great we get a Bruce Campbell cameo, it's always a pleasure to see him. Make sure you stick around to the very end of the credits to see more of him. I had thought this movie would really play on the multiverse idea and really have fun with it, But you only get to see two alternative worlds, one which dominates most of the plot, where we are introduced to other superheroes, which I won't go into, but you can probably guess who they are. But this alternative world we see is just New York covered in flowers and plants, and making use of locations in London such as the British Museum. When we encountered the darker version of Doctor Strange, we see this world that felt like it was from Silent Hill or something of that nature, but still visually very cool to look at. We do get a montage of different worlds as Strange and Chavez make their first escape, but it's just a quick sequence. We are not seeing much in hopping from one world to another, so I felt the multiverse name and what we were sold on didn't quite deliver for me. America Chavez felt shoehorned into the film. She turns up and says she can do these things, and then it becomes this chase movie with Scarlet Witch on their tail. Chavez felt like a character we had seen before in other movies, a girl who is alone and can't control her abilities and needs the help of said superhero. I just think she could have been better written to fully get behind her journey and who she was. With Sam Raimi in control, we get his choice of composer on board, which is Danny Elfman. The last Marvel feature he scored was a while back with Age of Ultron. Danny's score is to his usual high standard. There is a lot going on with the music, with nods to the original themes from the first film and other superheroes, but the majority of the score is very much Danny's style, which you may love or feel it a bit too similar to his previous work, say under Tim Burton. The sound mix made it difficult in parts to fully appreciate his music, as the sound effects often took over, but listening to it by itself, there is a lot to enjoy. Not many themes that stand out, but the music does a really good job of balancing the action, horror and the emotional angle the movie is trying to put across in areas. There was a great scene where Doctor Strange uses musical notes as a weapon, and Danny Elfman clearly had a lot of fun scoring this scene. I'm sure many of you will go see it and probably enjoy it for the most part. I suppose I can recommend it, but don't go in thinking it's going to be a game changer in any way. It has the visual flair to impress and is a lot of fun in places, but didn't quite hit the mark for me. I'm not at the stage of getting burnt out on superhero films, but they are not the be-all and end-all of entertainment at the cinema. I've seen a number of movies this year that I haven't reviewed in the case of The Duke and The Phantom of the Open, both great movies, which I honestly enjoyed more than Doctor Strange 2. Marvel and Disney are still doing interesting stuff, however. There is always a worry that they get a director on board who was just hired to give the film some clout, and the director has to work under the eyes of Disney and can't flex their creativity. That doesn't seem to be the case with the Multiverse of Madness. It's very much a Sam Raimi movie, but I just think the script could have been worked on a bit more and less time dedicated to lengthy action scenes. The movie just didn't click with me. Maybe I had overhyped it, expecting something better than what I got. Sam Raimi said he cut out 35 minutes. If that was left in, it would have been a really long film. Maybe they cut out some interesting plot elements, who knows. Perhaps there'll be an extended cut in future. But in its current state, if I was going to give it a rating, I would give it 3 out of 5. It's good, but nothing special. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and click the bell to be notified of my latest retrospectives and reviews. Big thanks to my patrons for supporting the channel. If you want to get involved and gain early access to my content and exclusive videos, then follow the link below.